Hey everyone, Julian here. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make a vocal lead using your own voice that will sound something like this. So it's actually pretty simple, but that's just one that I put together earlier, and I'm going to show you the kind of techniques that will help you achieve this. So the first thing you need is a recording of your own voice, and it doesn't really matter how you record it. I'm just going to record mine with this mic real quick. But you just want something that's like some kind of vowel sound. So like if you could just record yourself going ooh, which is what I'm gonna do, that's great. What you want to avoid is any kind of like consonant sounds. So like you wouldn't want to do like a s or a t or any of those kind of sounds because the vowel sounds have more tonality to them. You can kind of hear more of a pitch when I go ooh, whereas s is more like hissy and it's not really got like a defined like tone to it. So I'm gonna record myself real quick. Again, just something simple. Perfect. It doesn't really matter what note you sing. It doesn't matter like how in tune it is. We're gonna fix that now. So I'm just gonna go in here and just cut this. I'll probably just cut it like there, and then draw a little fade, and we'll drag it back to the start. And let's just listen back to that. And I'm gonna put a tuner on it so you can sort of hear, so you can sort of see how out of tune or in tune this is. Okay, so we gotta get rid of some of this because the pitch goes like down. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut this and we'll just move this over, do a little fade, and now. So if I cut the end here, we have a nice little chunk that I can use. That is kind of short, but that doesn't really matter, and you'll see why later when we get into the sampler. Okay, so this is about 50 cents out of tune, so it's very out of tune. So what we have to do is if you look at this, it's basically at like plus 45 to 50 for the F. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this detune in here. I'm going to unwarp it, and we're going to go minus 50. So now we're basically compensating for that out of tuneness. There we go. And it goes out of tune a little bit more like throughout the sample. That's fine. I'm not really too concerned with that. I'm just going to go ahead and freeze this track and flatten it so all changes are like a part of the file. Let's unwarp this again. And now I'm going to grab auto-tune. So this stuff is somewhat optional. It also kind of depends on like how good of a recording you have. But what I'm going to do with auto-tune is if you look at this tuner, it says it's an F. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go to the key here, and I'm going to get an F, and we're just going to do a F major. And then I'm going to set the pitch amount, the amplitude amount, and the formant amount all the way up so we get this. Oh, whoops. There we go. And now it's perfectly in tune. So let's freeze that down one more time. Flatten. And so now we have this perfect F. And it's just a short little thing that you can use, and it's great. The last thing we need to do before I put this in a sampler is I'm going to go in here, and we need to tune this to C because the piano roll in Ableton and many other DAWs is based on C. C is sort of like the root note of this piano roll. So you need to have your instruments tuned to C, or else they're going to be out of tune. Like if I kept this tuned to F, it would always be 5 semitones higher than what the note says that I'm playing, and it would just get very confusing. So it's easier to just go in and tune this down, and yeah. So right now it's an F. I'm going to unwarp it, and let's do minus 5, and now it'll be a C. Great. And then doing this also kind of helps too, because it gives it like a little bit more character, and I like that. So I'm just going to go ahead and consolidate that, unwarp it again, and let's open up a new MIDI track. And I'm going to drag this on here, and it's going to make it simpler. And now we can play this as an instrument. It doesn't sound very good, but we can play it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here, and I'm actually going to click this loop. And what this is going to do is now it's going to loop the sample. But if you listen, it's not very smooth because all it's doing is it's playing through and then just going straight back to the start. What we need to do is do some fading using this section. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move the start time forward a bunch. I'm gonna move the length back so it's like that, and then we're gonna turn up this fade here. And now if you listen, it's still not like perfectly smooth. There's a little bit of a click at the beginning of the sample, which I can fix with this attack. But now we have one long smooth note that you can just play out throughout like however long you want without any problems. So that's pretty useful. I'm also gonna go in here to this controls tab and click on the glide, and we'll set the time to like 150 milliseconds. So what the glide is gonna do, if you don't know, is when you hit two overlapping notes, they'll slide between each other, so you can be like. If you're familiar with like flume and stuff like that, that technique is used a lot. So it's important to know. And I want this to be a monophonic lead, so that's fine. So what I'm gonna do next, I'm gonna get an EQ8. I'm gonna do a little bit of shaping just with the EQ. Because this is very like, it's got that one frequency in the middle that's really jumping out at me, but it's not very like sharp sounding. It doesn't really have that kind of like bright vocal lead kind of sound that I'm used to. So I'm just gonna get this and start doing some shaping, like I said. And you can really be as dramatic as you want with this, or drastic and dramatic, honestly. But you like, there's not really any rules for this. It's kind of just like sound design. Like you're just playing around and trying to be creative. So this is sounding pretty good to me. I'm gonna go ahead and put a reverb on this. So let's just grab the Ableton reverb, maybe turn the decay time, turn the dry wet down a little bit. Alright, that's decay time. This is just something you can kind of play with on your own and get a feel for it. That's pretty straightforward. The next thing I'm going to put on here is I'll put on some OTT. So if you don't know what OTT is, it's a famous preset for Ableton's multiband compressor. And it basically, OTT stands for over the top. It's like this very over the top multiband compression that just really pulls up all the little frequencies that aren't really getting out that much and just really like just slams them, I guess, is the best way I can put it. So that's going to sound like this. So this is sounding pretty good. There's kind of like a lot of different things you could do here. You can maybe try a little bit of overdrive. I hear people do that a lot. You could go in and maybe start playing around with like a formant shifter. So I'm gonna get Soundtoys Little Alter Boy. It's a pretty good formant shifter plugin. If you see my live streams, you know I use it like all the time. And this can be like a nice thing for these kind of vocal chops. You can do like this maybe. But yeah, I mean, it's really just a matter of playing around. Just sort of like I said, just once you get the little stab recorded, like just a recording of yourself going ooh or something like that, the possibilities are endless. You can really go anywhere from that, and it's really just sort of about like creativity and getting in and just doing it on your own. And yeah, I just want to make a quick little guide, I guess, on how to get started with this. Definitely let me know what you thought in the comments. Subscribe, share this video, like this video, and I'll see you guys again tomorrow for another tutorial.